Do I have what it takes to survive in a dark and brutal world? This is Drova Forsaken Kin, an action RPG set in a dark fantasy world. Join me as I spend 100 days in the game exploring various locations, battling dangerous creatures, and trying to uncover the mysteries of this mystical land. Also, for this story video, every 10 minutes I spend in the game will be equivalent to a day. So let's begin. Alright, so for this run, we're going for the classic mode. The story begins in a town that is very poor. Suddenly, a group of warriors came back to the village and they carry around a glowing red rock. It was a crystal with magic power, and the druids are very curious with this thing. So some of the people overheard the druids talking. So there was this land called Drova. It is a world of peace where nobody has to suffer. Also, they mention a place called Remnant where people live in harmony with the divinities. And now we, the protagonists, saw the two druids walking at night carrying the glowing red crystal. So of course, followed them because I was very curious on where they were going. I walked through really dark fogs, looking at their footsteps on where they were going here. I eventually found them, but there was some magical things that was happening here, and one of them died. Anyhow, I approached them, talked to them, and then Vinya right here told me that I shouldn't have followed them because they were attacked by these creatures. Anyhow, she said we don't have a chance to live if we try to go back, so I guess the only thing to do is to move forward. With a sword from the dead druid before, I used it to fend off all the creatures that tried to attack us. It was like spiritual pigs, I guess, or boars. We then search the area for runes that we might be able to use so we can maybe escape from this predicament. After the job was done, Vania right here then used her powers and it summoned this black giant boar entity. It screamed, made us unconscious. I tried to check out what happened, but honestly, I didn't have the strength to continue on. I wanted to check on Vinya, but I fell unconscious again. When I woke up, the druid was nowhere to be seen, but oh, there she was, covered in blood. It seems she was dragged away by something. I then talked to her. She gave me a mission of delivering the red crystal in her steed because she was dying. I need to deliver it to a druid in Nematon. And now it seems I was close to an area with an abandoned village. So before I set out on my adventure, I made sure to loot everything that I can in this place, so I have every item I would need on our adventure. I found myself a shield, but I still had no weapon on hand right now. But at the very least, we have a shield, right? I eventually found myself a weapon called a branch, an actual branch. So yeah, this will serve as our sword right now. Anyhow, I continued exploring the place. I eventually found this rock with red markings. So these rocks serves as a warning that beyond this point is a dangerous zone. And as you can see, there's like fog everywhere, but I see a path up there that requires me to go through the fog. So what this fog does is it drains my HP, so I need to be careful when traversing up here. The trip was rewarding as I got myself a void plant. This plant will give me a permanent mind +1, and what mind does is it gives an increase in base focus, and focus is the thing we need in order to execute skills. Also, it increases my magical damage, but currently we don't have magic, so it doesn't really matter. First encounter with an enemy here was a rat, easily defeated with our stick. By a rat, I mean a mutated, weird-looking rat. I'm what you call an explorer because I want to like explore everything in my surrounding first before I proceed to the next area. And here I found a skeleton with a jiggling pouch and inside was like 6 coins. It's gonna be useful later on. Also found myself a new weapon called a stone axe. This is a two-handed weapon, but I really love my shield though, so I guess I'll use it when the time comes. The swing on this thing is pretty wide. There's also a charge attack in this game. Damage is higher than our stick. but still, I want safety with a shield. Then found a scroll called Magic Missile. So in this game, there are scrolls engraved with runes. So once you use this, it will disappear forever. So I will make sure to only use this when necessary, like maybe fighting a boss or a really hard monster. And now I continued my exploration, fighting even more rats. And honestly, I already miss my shield because I can't dodge properly or evade attacks from these rats using my axe. It does a lot of damage though. That's the only plus side on this. Then found a nest containing a bunch of items, mainly eggs and feathers. So eggs is gonna be used in cooking stuff, or I can just sell this to the NPCs for coins. Walking some more, I then encountered a mosquito. But using a shield, it basically dealt no damage to me. I only dealt some stamina damage, I guess. The green bar on the bottom. It's not HP, so we're fine. Now I continued killing off some mosquitoes as I explore more of this upper part of the map. I wish I can find a better weapon than this stick though. I'm gonna plan on maining daggers, so I hope I can find some daggers soon. Oh look, another corpse. And this corpse has a scroll called Summoning Rats. So we can summon rats to aid us in battle, and this is very useful against bosses or a group of mobs so that the rats can distract them. So I continued my exploration. I finally encountered a person here, and this guy was called Asmus. Wondering why it's only me, and I told him, yeah, it's only me that survived and managed to escape the gorge. There was a droid that was traveling with me, but yeah, she died. Anyways, I told this guy that I need to get to Nemeton to deliver a certain crystal. I even showed him the crystal, but he had no idea what it was. Anyways, he was nice enough to give me a crude map that can show me the way towards Nemeton. There were also a bunch of stuff here that I can go to, like markings of a raven, a circle spiral thingy, and other things. Anyways, for now, he then told me to go to the woodcutter's camp. I just needed to follow the path, and sure enough, that is where I'm heading. Maybe I can get some good gears there. And so, we are at chapter 1 in the game, The Arrival. I continued exploring the area and found a cave. Inside this cave was a besa root, and what it does, it gives you a permanent stat +1 once eaten. But you can also combine this with an item called Mandragora, which will make an elixir of strength that gives permanent +3 strength. So yeah, I found a corpse that had like a pickaxe, so now I can mine some ores with this. So how this works is I basically just need to time my clicks into the green bar and I can mine the ore that's available. So I exhausted the cave with all the iron ores that was available. It's time to continue our adventure towards the woodcutter's camp. There were a bunch of pests that were blocking our way, but we easily took care of it with our stick and shield. And look, I gained myself a level. Let's go. As I explored further, I found myself a broken boat. The only item it contained were logs, so it wasn't really a great find, but I'm not really sure what use the logs is for now. I eventually found another person that was trying to fix a bridge. This is Merlin, and she's one of the people of the woodcutter's camp. Anyway, she told me to go to the woodcutter's camp and speak to the person there so he can give me some work. I instead just continued exploring all over the place. I just wanted to loot everything here, like the healing plants and the mushrooms and anything I can find. There's also this cute cat right here. So I pet the cute cat and she likes it. Exploring some more, I found myself a hole with 3 apples in them. There are a bunch of other open holes, but nothing inside them. And I can see like a bunch of apples that were just thrown away, half eaten or something. Anyways, I've arrived at the woodcutter's camp. And now that I'm here, it's time to be a little thief. I then spoke with Sengiz right here, the leader of the camp. Anyways, I talked to him about a lot of random things, more or less information about the place like Nemeton, the Remnants, and Drova. So yeah, I accepted some work for him. I needed to fetch like 2 person to help repair the bridge and also find 1 person that was out hunting some rats. Alright, cool, we have some quests now. So while he wasn't looking, I'm back to my dirty work. Afterwards, I spoke to Aguilo right here. He's one of the person we needed to talk to help repair the bridge. But before he does so, he wanted to ask a favor of me of going to a storage pit and get some food there. Before I continued my quest though, I decided to speak with the other people in the camp like Bombos right here. He was a merchant that sold a bunch of goods. He didn't really have anything particularly interesting, but it's nice to buy these recipes for potions later on. Anyways, I sold him a bunch of my goods that I did not really need, so I can get some coins that I might need later on. I then fought this tree-like monster. This thing is called a Spriggan, and it's better to kill them when they're babies before they grow into adults. They're scary when they're adults. Don't really drop anything important, just a couple of loots that you can sell to the NPCs. So sometimes there are these trees where it contains like items, and I found some. Anyways, I just ignored most of the Spriggans and just continued looting whatever was around the place because these things are pretty tanky and my stick doesn't really have a lot of damage, so I don't want to waste my time on them. And after scavenging for a while, I finally found the person who would help fix the bridge, but oh my god, I actually lured all the Spriggans to him, so I think this guy will die and I will die. So this is such a bad idea to like lure most of them. So I guess if this guy dies, we'll need to restart this because, you know, he's dead and I'm gonna be dead soon. So yeah, this was a really bad idea. Anyways, I went back to the person who needs help fighting the Spriggans, and this time without the group of other Spriggans that I lured last time. So after defeating most of the Spriggans here, then talked to this guy. His name was Jendrik. I told him that Senghis wants him to work on the bridge, but he said, how can we fix a bridge without wood? So he asked me to find some wood. So I found a bunch of wood that he needed just besides him actually. So I gave him the wood and we started chopping those wood. Also, while doing so, we talked about life and other stuff in Drova. And after the work was done, I earned myself +1 strength and also learned a skill called Dash. Let's go. Before going back to Sengriz, I decided to explore some more. And here I met this guy called Lorthes. So this guy sells the world map of this place. The map of Drova. Also, he sells an ink so I can start marking the map if I need it. I didn't have enough money to actually purchase the map, so I just bought the ink. But Lurthus said he got me and gave me the map and I should just pay him when I see him again. Alright, cool. We have a world map now. Continuing my exploration, I then lured a couple of mosquitoes. I don't think I can fight them alone, so I lured them to Lorthes. Hopefully he can help me dealing with these guys. And yeah, he did. Look at his net, look at his slash, one-shotting the mosquito, dashing in the mosquito. He's so strong. Thank you, my good man. I got free XP and free loots. Continued my journey since the mosquitoes were gone, and in this place I found a dead body. I also found an old spear. So this body had a bow. So yeah, we now have a bow. We can try this out. Then found a ruin. The only thing I got here though was a scroll for a spell called Root Cone. Actually, there was a rather dangerous creature here, so I had to leave this place. Look at that bird. It looks really dangerous, so I gotta go. Totally forgot about Aguilo's quest. Anyways, I went to the storage pit. I gave him the last 3 remaining apple that I found there. Also gave him some berries so he can make food for the people here. He also mentioned that there is a thief that has been sneaking around and grabbing their food lately. Thief usually appears at night, so I'll deal with that later. For now, I spoke with these 2 people right here. They were arguing about what's better, one-handed sword and shield or a 2-handed weapon. So I had to agree with the one-handed sword and shield because currently the shield is so valuable. It taught me a couple of tricks like blocking and attacking. Also taught me an ability called Wound, and what it does, it makes our enemy bleed if ever they get hit. Alright, so for the bridge to be fixed, we need the 2 people to work on it. So I slept in a tent so I can catch the thief at night. And there's the little thief. He was rummaging the storage and he didn't even care that I was here. Now I confronted him and he mentioned that Sengiz didn't want to hear whatever he wanted to say because he wanted to work for them. So I told him now that they actually needed people, so I can tell Sengiz that this guy wants to work for the woodcutter's hut. And he was okay with it. He said that he will wait for me around the woodcutter's area in the morning. I followed him to his cave though. He might have some items there I would like to get. And while he was sleeping, I grabbed everything I could grab in this place. As I was strolling around, I found myself this item called Cliff Lichen. It gives a permanent +1 dexterity, and same as the basil root, once you combine it with the mandragora, it can become an elixir of dexterity and give you +3. I just ate it up because I'm gonna focus on making strength elixirs or elixirs that increases base focus because the mandragoras in this game are limited. Anyhow, with the spear on hand, I had an easier time dealing with monster. It has a longer attack range, so I have an easy time like poking them from afar. And on the next day, I then introduced Owain to Sengiz, and I told him about how Owain wanted to work, but I also told him that he was the thief that has been stealing food from our pits. Although, since we really needed workforce, Sengiz decided to hire him. Owain hates us though. I mean, did I do something wrong? I did tell him that we need to confess that he was stealing stuff. I then talked to Agilo and he asked me for another favor, which is to find out where his friend is. Last scene was in the Remnant camp. I guess when we go to the Remnant camp, I'll ask around. And since no one was around Sengiz's tent, I then stolen a bunch of his items. We now have a new clothes called work clothes that adds like 5 defense. Let's go. Not gonna wear it yet though because I'm here and he would recognize that I have his work clothes. I told him that the 2 people that needed to work at the bridge is now working at the bridge and he gave me some coins. Let's go. I was disappointed that he couldn't give me a work clothes, but I already have it. I'm just not telling him. I then added a bunch of strength. I didn't have anything in particular I wanted to learn right now, so everything should go to strength for more attack power. And with the new sword that I have obtained from one of the chests, look at how strong I am. Also, now that we have like +5 armor from the recent adventure by, opening the chest, I then challenge these dogs called the Rippers. And they seem doable now, but as you can see, I'm still in danger though if I don't play it safe. They are dying though with the bleed that I inflicted on them, and I'm also dying. Just one more shot and I'm dead. But thankfully, we have a shield that defended us and we're alive. Let's go. Then found myself a shrine of some sorts. I wasn't really sure what this is, but there was also a note here. I didn't really pay this any mind. I just read it and forget about it. But anyway, these shrines have like clues on what you can put on them in the circle right here. So for this one, it was a sword. So I placed down the sword that I've been using and now I don't have a sword yet. But I have activated the shrine. Also, I have obtained +1 mind. Let's go. So I'll be using my spear now since, our sword is gone. I then ventured on another ruins, which was very close to a remnant camp. And finally, we have found the dual daggers that we wanted to main in this run. Even though the damage is pretty bad, it's still the dual daggers that I wanted. So I'll be using this in this run. Just look at these quick slices. I mean, my timing is so bad that I can't combo this, but yeah, basically that. So I finally reached the Remnant camp. So let's take a look on what awaits us on this place. Anyhow, I then spoke with this person called Jola who was guarding the gate of Remnant, I guess. So they have also their own druid, so we don't really need to go to Nemeton. But I can't really speak to their druids unless I join them. But in order to join them, I need to be recognized by 2 of the Blades of Jiro. So there were a bunch of things I need to do before we can actually interact with a druid. But I was free to roam around the Remnant's camp without any penalty, restriction, or whatsoever. There are just some areas that I can't access unless I have the approval of one of the higher ups. Alright, since we're here, time to look for some treasures. By treasures, I mean everyone else's stash of goods. I then spoke with this guy here called Aiden. He was looking for a basil root because he wanted to experiment on making an elixir. So basically, he wanted to make an elixir of strength. He just didn't have the basil root. So I gave him the basil root. He made the elixir and had me try it out, and I gained a permanent +3 in strength. Let's go. He also sells a bunch of recipes for elixir of dexterity, mind, focus, and health. But like I said, I don't really have any mandragoras right now, so I don't think I'll be buying any anytime soon. I then went inside this lower quarters of the remnants. I'm not really sure what to call this place. I needed a bed to rest on, so you know, at night we can do something. Get a lot of items, if you catch my drift. So I paid this person about 25 coins in order to make this place my own as a sleeping place in Remnant. I suddenly got woken up by Mog right here. He also paid for this place. So I told him I also paid Blanda, so we should go to her and complain. So we complained about it and she returned our coins. We were both so angry. Well, not really, only Mog. I'm just happy to get my coins back, and I already achieved my goal of sleeping till nighttime. Now that it was nighttime, I can easily take items from houses of these people. I also found a hidden staircase downstairs. Needed to unlock it using a lockpick, which wasn't really that hard. Inside were a bunch of small spiders, which I actually had trouble killing because I deal like so little damage. Wasn't really anything rare down here, just a couple of notes that I had to read. But I actually found a hidden mechanism, and when I pushed this, something opened inside. It was a secret passage towards this place. So this place was just full of papers and random goodies like ancient coins I can sell to merchants. It isn't really much, but it's something. I also got 2 magical scrolls here. One is for magical vision and another is to summon insect. Magical vision basically improves our sight, like we have like cat eyes. We'll be able to see clearly in the dark. For the summon insect, it summons a bunch of mosquitoes to assist us on our fight. Anyhow, I continued being a menace and stole a bunch of items from people. My goal this playthrough is to be a hero, but as long as I don't get caught, I will be the hero. I then learned the crafting skill by Aiden. I would need this later on in order to make like better rings and other stuff. Now, I then met one of Jiro's blade named Boris. And immediately after getting and talking to him, he asked me for a favor to go to Nemeton and pick up a package. We need this guy's favor, so I don't have a choice but to work for him. Alright, so we gotta go to Nemeton and pick up the package. But before that, let's explore more of Remnant. I went to Remnant's tavern and spoke with this person called Cora. I asked him about Jiro. And she said Jiro is in the pit. So I guess we need to go there in order to finish the quest. Also, if you don't remember, Jiro is a friend of the person in Woodcutter's Camp who requested us to find where his friend is. Anyways, I spent a decent amount of time here in Remnant just talking to most of the people here. Getting to know them, asking them random questions of information that I might need in the future. I also spoke with Eugene, the second blade of Jiro. So we also need his favor in order to join Remnant. So for plus points, I gave this guy a beer, but one wasn't enough to satiate his thirst. So we're going nowhere with this. We need to get more beer and other types of stronger alcohol to maybe make this guy happier and give us his vote. I then met Motek right here. He used to be the best ewer in Remnant. So Joel told me to meet him so he can lead me to the pit. But for now, I'm gonna explore more of Remnant before we go to the pit. Nemeton can come later for Boris' request. The pit comes first. And while everyone is sleeping, it's time to grab a couple of their items. I was so surprised that they suddenly woke up. Anyways, I was free to get all of their items. No one really batted an eye that I was sneakily getting their stuff. One of the chests here, I found a love letter from Meluna. She is one of the resident of the lower quarry. So this is Baddie's tent. Baddie is one of the gladiators. Anyhow, just random information that I wanted to say because we're gonna be using it later. I also grabbed a bunch of stuff from the merchants. Sneakily tried to lockpick open a chest and I successfully did it. There were some chests I couldn't open though because it requires a lockpicking skill which I don't have. So I'll come back for it later once I've learned the skill. Then talk to Folk right here. He's one of Eugene's men, and in order for him to give positive feedback about me, I needed to help him out on something. So he has a friend named Aldo who has been acting suspicious lately. This guy right here. He doesn't seem like the way he was before and he wanted me to investigate this. Also, I found a hidden entrance in one of the shrines in Remnant. I'm not entirely sure if shrine was the right word for this. But anyways, there were a couple of jars here that I couldn't break to get items. And then again, another lock that I can't open because I did not have a locking pick skill. Anyhow, I then talked to Aldo. He's pretending that everything is okay, but there's something wrong about this guy. He was pretty agitated if I asked like random questions. Anyways, we don't really have any evidence on what to do about this guy. So for now, I just left the area afterwards. I was ready to head over to the pit, but Motek had some plan before we go there. So for now, I talked to the bartender. It seems we still have a quest here. So this guy had some rat infestation on his basement. So I'd be glad to help out for some coins. We took care of the rats. They don't really fight back, so they're just something you hit. I also got a little extra from cleaning down here. There was a chest I couldn't open because I didn't have the lockpicking skill. So we'll come back here and to the other chest that we couldn't open before once we have the skill. Down here, I found a secret area. It seems like the infestation came from here. But these rats were the crazy ones that attacked back. The mutated looking rats. And there were a lot of them inside here. And when I say a lot, there's a lot. And my daggers just don't have the damage. So you have to keep killing them while backing away. And I eventually killed everything. The entire family, the entire clan. For that quest, I got a reward of 75 coins in total. Plus the other items I got down there. So all good. Anyways, now that we're ready, I then had Motek lead me to the pit. He dropped by a shrine I haven't discovered yet, and there were daggers there. I'm so ready to grab this and try this out myself. I'm pretty disappointed that what I got is what I already have, so kinda suck. And while exploring the area, I then lured a couple of monsters to Motek to help me out in combat. He wasn't really strong, but he was tanky enough to tank these guys at the very least. And we dealt with the monsters fairly quick. Found another cave. Cool. I found a bunch of arrows, coins, and other items, but the most important thing here was the lyra. If you remember where we left Motek, the lyra is the item needed to put on that shrine. So now we have it. Also, there was a green part in this cave. Wow, looks like paradise. But as I continued exploring the cave, there was like this giant spider where I barely did any damage. So I had to run away. Anyways, back to the shrine thing. I then put the lyra and there we go. We got a +1 mind and we have activated this shrine. We then continued our journey towards the pit, but I'm always distracted, so I hope Motek is not angry with me. We eventually encountered some bandits on the highway and they were asking for some coins before we can pass. We didn't really have a choice in this matter. We weren't really the strongest fighter at the moment and Motek did not want to fight, so I just gave my share of coin of 50, so we paid him like 100 to make us pass safely. Anyways, we finally arrived at the pit, but I need to speak to Levin first. So yeah, I spoke with Levin. He wrote my name and other details. So now I can just go find someone who would give me the mining gears. I actually spent some time at the mines. I decided to explore a bit, even lured a bunch of dogs to these bandits, which would assist me in fighting these guys for free experience points. Let's go. Wait, actually, if I don't kill the dog, I don't get experience points? Wait, let me try it out. Oh, I did get experience points. So yeah, this is a free experience ride. Let's go. And just nearby the pit, there was actually a cave here surrounded by a bunch of these birds. So I instantly just went into the cave and was safe. There was a dead body right here. So I searched up the corpse on whatever item he had. He had a new ability for me called Fervent Shout. And what it does, it increases my damage resistance by 30%. I then went back afterwards because I now can see what causes death. The spiders, I guess. So it's time to get out of here. I then spoke to Lothar right here, which gave me a bunch of mining equipments. I now have a new armor with more defense. So he gave me another pickaxe, which I already have. Before I go to the pit, I grab a bunch of items with Lothar unaware. I also bought a new pair of knives called Bone Knife from Lothar. So at the very least, our damage will increase by 5. We're pretty weak, so this would help a lot. And so I then went inside the pit. So the rules here is 50% of the silver we have will be taken as payment before we can go outside. Also, this is Trusty. This is the guy that will lead us and show us around inside the pit. He also taught me a thing or two about mining, and now I have gained a new skill called prospecting. I then talked to a bunch of people here in the pit, and this was Agnesa. She was pretty sick, so I gave her a healing ointment, earning me a bunch of experience for finishing this quest. Alright, also she gave me like 5 silver ores. Let's go. Also spoke with Shona right here. She had a quest requesting for some meat. I had a lot of rat meats with me, so I gave her that and earned some experience as well. And there was this guy called Merrick who was selling a pickaxe called Silver Smasher, which increases the amount of silver ore you get for smashing those ores. But this is 100% a scam the way he talks. I can tell. Anyways, because we're doing this for a quest, I bought this thing because I need some interaction with this guy. It was for only like 15 coins. Pretty expensive, honestly, but sure, why not? I also bought some ear protection from this guy. I needed this for the future Mandragora hunts we're gonna do. And as you know, if you haven't watched any fantasy shows or movies yet, Mandragoras, when pulled from the ground, screams really loud and will kill you because of its loud noise. I also met one of the guards here who offered me to have a place to rest. And sure, I will sleep inside here. The moment I woke up though, he then charged me 10 silver. Like, what the heck? He just said I can sleep here. Having no choice, I then handed over the 10 silver he asked. And yeah, remember the guy who sold us the Silver Smasher? I will now smash his chest and loot whatever is inside. By smashing, I mean just opening and grabbing stuff. We got an accessory here called Silver Ring of the Bandit, which gives us like +1 dexterity. So it was worth looting this thing. I think I got my money's worth out of that scammy 15 silver pickaxe. Exploring the pit, I then found like this secret hole. Inside this hole was a person having like a secret hideout or something. This guy was called Finlay. And I told him that I just found this by accident. I then told him that bribes won't work on me. I just want to sleep here. But he got angry and we fought. Too bad for him, I'm pretty good with the dagger. Actually, no, but his damage wasn't really that high. I can just tank all his hits, but my damage is doing a lot to him. So for sure, I will never lose this fight. Look at him. And you're down, buddy. Don't worry though, I did not kill him. I just grabbed all the items he had and helped him out. I then explored the mine, found a bunch of these anteater monsters. Fairly easy to defeat. I just dash away when it tries to attack me. And there were a bunch of these silver ores that I can mine. This is the Silver Smasher, by the way. And it broke in one try. But I did get a diamond from this rock though. Maybe the Silver Smasher is actually useful. I never really thought about it. Or maybe I was just lucky that I got diamond from that. Anyways, continuing the exploration, I found a bunch more ores and a bunch more of these anteater monsters. After I was done exploring, I then talked to Merrick again. Told him how his pickaxe busted the moment I used it. And told him that he ripped me off. Nothing really happened between us, but anyways, I continued exploring the camp and here I met Morta. This guy wanted to offer protective service, but I did not really need protective service at all. Now, I said no to his service and also mentioned him that I gave some meat to Shauna where she cooked the meat. He hasn't had meat for a while, so he rushed out of there. I then met Ella right here, one of the candidates to go to the deep mine. I also want to go to the deep mine. Found a canary down here who was pretty hungry, so I had to fetch the canary some food and fed it some berries. So this canary was called a falco, and because I was nice to it, fed it some food, he then reached out something from his cage and gave me a scroll. And it was called Blaze, a very powerful spell. Let's go. I'll be using this when up against like a huge group of mobs or something. I spoke with Gendra right here. I wanted to go to the deep mines, I said, but she said I need to pay a fee. I said no and skedaddled out of there. I need to look for the two candidates and tell them that I want to go to the deep mines. First, we have Ella right here. She said no. So drowning in my sorrows, I continued exploring the mine for now and then met this miner right here who was wearing an earplug. I then gave her some silver coins in exchange for her ear protection. I didn't really need this though, as I bought already like 2. I then encountered this guy called Emko. He was asking if I wanted a lot of silver and he then asked me to follow him. And so I did. Where he actually led me was a trap that they had prepared an ambush to steal my silver. They wanted silver so they can sleep well tonight. Because of that guy Morta that's charging like 10 silver per sleep, I told them that we can just band together and fight that dude so we can sleep properly. And they agreed, and now we're on our journey to beat up that guy. So we then fought him because he wouldn't change his ways. And oh my god, this dude is pretty tanky. Our damage is barely visible. But anyways, there's 3 of us and a couple of hits. We can like lower his stance, keep stunning him until like he eventually dies. So this was the strategy right now. Also, bleed is a really good debuff right now because we barely have any damage. At the very least, bleed will continuously kill him. Anyways, we defeated him, tell him that it's enough. Stop charging us for sleeping. And yeah, he agreed. He said he will never do it again. And he got angry with us. But yeah, job well done. Everyone deserves sleep now. So everyone in the area just picked a bed and slept. They were not actually scared that this guy might retaliate and kill them on their sleep. But I guess he's still a guard. And he would pay for his crimes if ever he killed any of us. Back to this guy called Merrick. We talked about the silver smashers with him again. And I told him it was lemons. It sucks. It breaks in one shot. And he was angry, so it's time for a brawl. He stood no chance though, as I was just poking him, dodging all his skills, just running around. Well, sometimes it hit though, because the two-handed pickaxe has a really wide range. So I thought that maybe I can just tank this. It doesn't really matter. He could not kill me at all with that cute damage. I can just make sure that I dodge the skill attacks and I should be fine. And just look at this guy. I will defeat him soon by my stabbing motion. Actually, it's a really close fight. I'm pretty weak. Dang, I'm really bad at this. He got me to like half health. That's crazy. Anyways, we have defeated him and then took all his stuff and then helped him out. We got all the silver we spent from buying the silver smasher early on, plus the additional items we got from his chest. And yeah, that should taught him a lesson. No scamming people, okay? I then spoke with the second candidate for the deep mines. This is Almar, and I told him that I wanted to go to the deep mine. Also told him about the silver smasher being scammy. He said that he'll be here for a while, so he doesn't really mind giving me his spot for the deep mines. So sure, okay, thank you, my good man. I then told Gendra that Almar is not coming and I'm the only candidate here towards the deep mine. So let's go. It's time to assemble and explore the deep mines. Down here, there were also a couple of these anteater monsters. Gendra will serve as our guard as we mine the ores. And so we mined and mined all these silver veins down here. There were so many. I'm very happy to gather a bunch of silver ores. As we exhausted the silver mines in the area and told Gendra, she said it wasn't enough to meet the quota. So she wanted to explore even deeper. Ella disagreed, but we had no choice here. She forced us to. Anyways, as we ventured deeper in the mine, a sudden earthquake happened and closed the path before us. Also, it continued raining down some rocks, and eventually Gendra actually got hit with one of these rocks. So now she doesn't have the ability to protect us, I guess. She can still use a slingshot though. They told me to avoid any fights if I can help it. But these things are lovely experience points. So no, I'm gonna fight these things. As we continued to explore, we stumbled upon this rock monster that we need to be careful of. But you know, Gendra approached it and it awoken, and now we have to fight this thing. Good thing I had like a couple of magic missile scrolls stored up, so I can use my magic missile to deal with this monster, as we don't really do that much damage. So the magic missile is really helpful in this situation. And we have defeated the rock monster. Gained like 200 experience points. Let's go. I continued exploring the place, even killed a bunch of these anteaters, and then found a corpse. Gendra seems to know who this person was. It's called Anselm. I have no idea who Anselm is. I also don't remember who Almar was. Anyways, we have found this body right here. Eventually, we finally arrive at the place where we can escape. So let's go. We're back to the camp now. Everyone was worried about Gendra, not us, the viewers. Anyways, Gendra put up a good word for me to Levin, because if it wasn't for me, we would have all died down there, she said. Anyways, with this, now we had access to the upper quarry because Levin told me that to tell the guard that he sent me to go to the upper quarter. Let's go. Just besides where everyone was talking, I then found Jiro. So yeah, this dude is doing fine here. He said he's mining so he can set up a tavern in the future. This was the friend of the woodcutter's camp that wanted us to know where the whereabouts of Jiro is. Jiro's just right here, minding his own business, trying to save up money to open his own tavern. After I was done with all the quests in the pit, it was now finally time to leave. It took like 62 silver ores from me. Sadness. I then made my way towards the Remnant's camp, and while on the way, I was fighting this dog right here. Very tanky dog, honestly. Or it's because my dagger is pretty bad. I really need an upgrade to this thing. I mean, these bone daggers, they're doing quite well, but it's not good enough. While exploring around, I fought this giant Spriggan. So yeah, the root attack is very annoying, but for his throw attack, they're easily dodgeable. I can just go left and right. But one of the annoying thing he does is it keeps like running away from me, so I have to struggle in like trying to break his stance. And most of his attack actually hurts me, so this is a horrible fight. So I decided to just run away and just look for like items around this place if ever I can find some. Didn't find any item, but I did find this rock with runes engraved on it. And once we interact with this thing, we will be getting like 3 plus 3 learning points. Pretty nice, honestly. It's like I leveled up once. Let's go. I then stumbled upon a ruin, and there was a guy right here. I'm not sure what he was doing, but anyways, he looked pretty dangerous. My damage was pretty cute, but I have a tactic here. I can just break their stance, so wait for my daggers to bleed this guy, and we will eventually and easily defeat him. But as you can see, I had his stance recover because I couldn't hit him fast enough. Anyways, he wasn't really that tanky actually. So I have defeated him, looted his makeshift stone axe, and just checking out what he was doing here. Also found a very strong Ripper nearby. But yeah, nothing is strong when it up against our bleed. So it will slowly die. Also, stance damage is amazing, I swear to God. You knock them out, you basically have like 1 to 2 seconds of free hit. And that's amazing. Continued encountering a bunch of these bandit people. I already defeated one. Defeating another is easy enough. So yeah, we beat up this guy as well. Lastly, I think I found the leader of these guys just chilling down here. And oh my god, this guy was pretty tanky. But as long as he doesn't hit us with anything, we're fine. We'll win this fight. But he has a spear though. He has a really long range. But I can easily just dodge like sideways. But oh my god, my HP, I'm dying. I need to heal up or at least break his stance. At the very least, he won't be able to attack. And now, I can actually out-heal all his damage with my healing ointment. So this was doing pretty great. So using the wound skill, I make him bleed so our fight goes faster. And a few more hits, we have defeated him. Let's go. I'm getting these better weapons, like a better spear, better sword, but no freaking daggers. Anyways, those things that I've been pressing, you know, the rocks on the wall, actually opened a gate to somewhere. Another thing, one of the bag here contained an epic talisman. This time, every time we use an ability, it will increase our next melee attack by 100%. So this was an amazing accessory to wear. So this was the hidden passage that all the buttons I've pressed so far led me to. Down here, I got myself something called a signet. Signet Stone of the Bygones. This is an important item that we'll need later on. I then stumbled upon a bunch of footprints and blood. I'm not really sure what happened here. I did find a dead body just lying around. I grabbed whatever item the body had and went on my way. I also approached a nest that looked like it contained an item. And upon checking it out, I got something called Aldo's Ring. This thing provided like +3 strength. Pretty decent ring. I then reported to Aguilo about how Giro is doing. I told him about how he worked at the pit in order to save up money to make his own tavern. I then went to the Remnant's camp and talked to Folk. I told him about the corpse that I had discovered in the ruins and also gave him Aldo's ring. So now I remember who Aldo was. Aldo was Folk's friend, and the description I gave him about the corpse is very similar to his friend, and we also have the ring as proof. So now we will confront the person manning Aldo's store. So this person was actually Baldo. He explained how everything was an accident. He didn't mean to kill Aldo, but folks say still killed Aldo and he kept quiet about it, so he's going to prison and get punished. Anyways, they fought. The guy just didn't want to admit to his crime. And while they were fighting, I nabbed a bunch of items that were just lying around in his store. Since no one really paid any mind to me, I also looted his chest. I got a couple of things here before the fight concluded. Anyways, this guy is now going to prison. Now that I had access to the upper quarters, I then went and explored here. I then met this guy called Killian. He's the one who's going to be responsible if we want to join Remnant. But before I can join Remnant, like I said, I need to get the approval of the 2 blades of Jiro first. I then found an unused area up here, so this can be my base now where I can sleep and stuff. I then talked to the smithy right here and learned a skill called Masterful Craftsmanship. This will enable me to craft one of the strongest accessory that's available by the merchants. So with the new recipe I have bought, I made myself the ring with Daranot, which gives about +5 strength. So we just got a +2 boost in our strength. Let's go. I also made myself this thing called the Amulet of the Spirit and then turned it into Amulet of the Augmented Spirit, which gives about a base focus of +6. More focus we have, easier it is to cast a skill. Like now we can have a permanent dash at the start, no need to hit enemies, because we have a base focus of 22 now. I then grab a quest from Lyndon right here. He wanted me to grab a list of people in depth with a certain person here in Remnant. So I said, sure, why not? I'll do it for you. I then spoke with Harlan right here, but he just told me to piss off because he's busy training. So in order to get recognized by this guy, you also just need to train and he will see you and said, wow, you're training, your stance is stable. Till eventually he asked to fight you. And that's what we did. I dealt like almost no damage to him and he just one-shot me. Wow, crazy. Damned indeed. Anyways, after that fight, I got his favor and he said he will put up a good word to Eugene for me. So I resumed the thing I wanted to do with the quest that the guy wanted me to get, like the list of debtors. So I checked the table of this person that's currently sleeping right now and opened a drawer and grabbed the list. Also other items, I grabbed them because they're available. I'm just stealing stuff, whatever. Also stolen some goods on her chest while I'm at it. And so I gave him the list that he wanted. And yeah, I pulled it off. Only reward I got from this were experience points. And that's it. No gold at all. Dang. Anyways, now that I had some beer on hand, it was now time to interact with Eugene and have him get drunk crazy. I gave him a couple of shots and he also said that I should drink too, so sure, I drank some as well. Things got a little bit crazy because Eugene wanted to kill some rippers while we're drunk right now. So as you can see, everything is woozy because I have the drunk debuff. While Eugene decided to stop for a while to release his elephant, I then encountered a bunch of bandits that wanted to attack me. Little did they know, I have a really strong friend out there bringing his elephant. So I lured them to Eugene and he took care of them rather easily. You can actually still hear the pissing sound, so yeah. I guess these guys tasted some axe and urine. Yeah, we resumed the original purpose of killing some rippers, and that we did. I'm basically just riding the experience train by Eugene. He just kills everything and I receive the experience points. After everything that had happened last night, I then woke up naked in a unfamiliar place. What? And look, there's Baldo right here. He hates me though. Spoke with a couple of people here and there, and this person here is Esther. So there's a coming fight going on with Gra and Baddie, and Esther right here wants to sabotage Baddie. I'm against this, so I did not accept her request at all. TLDR, she said we can get rich if we sabotage Baddie and bet a lot of money to Gra. Sounded too shady for me, so I did not do it. I then talked to Eugene and the bartender, and they told me what happened last night before I passed out. So basically, I danced naked all around the tavern and did other stuff, crazy stuff as well. They didn't stop me because they thought it was very funny. Wow. Anyway, Eugene favors me now because of what happened, and he said, what the heck, he'll give me his vote. So we just need Boris's vote and we can join the Remnant. Thankfully, the merchant kept all my items inside a chest, so we had no issues getting everything we lost on that drunk night. Finally found a merchant that sells a better dagger than what we currently have. So of course, I bought it. It was for 600 coins though. I only had 200, but I can sell a bunch of stuff on my inventory to be able to afford this. I then spoke to one of the fighters called Gra. He's one who's gonna be fighting Baddie, as I said earlier. Anyways, this guy lost his beloved axe and is not sure if he's gonna win against Baddie. So I said I will try to find his axe for him. I then had Sinestra teach me the basic of dagger fighting. Also added a point in strength since I had extra. I also talked to the other fighters and Baddie right here. He was the one who has a fight, so I had to call his attention and tell him that he has a fight coming up and he should go there. But he needs a lot of preparation, like someone to bring him some food and someone to sharpen his axe and bring it to him. So since I have no choice at this matter, I guess I will get him some food and have the blacksmith sharpen his axe. Doing everything he wanted, I gave him the food and I gave him the axe. Now he's ready for battle. Still needed to look for Snaga though, so I decided to go to Nemeton first. Maybe I can find a bunch of other quests that I can do, like right here with Babsy. She wanted some help to get Snapter eggs, and I needed help to defeat the Snapters because I can barely do damage to them. So we teamed up to get some eggs and defeat some Snapters. Finally defeating all the Snapters, we got the eggs. True to her word, she gave me half the eggs. Continued exploring the area and found myself another Cliff Lichen. That's an additional +1 dex to us again. So a corpse with some ear protection and thunderstorm scroll. We can use this later on. I also stumbled upon another ruin. There were a lot of items here, but it was guarded by the harpies, so I had to run away. Did manage to sneak in on some areas though and got myself some hidden treasures like this ram figurine and a strange ruin that has shattering blow. As I tried to head back, I was being chased by a couple of Synapters. I'm trying to lure it to the hunter while looting a bunch of stuff that were just lying around. Alright, so I got another help again from this person right here, so we can now defeat these dang raptors. Actually, I could solo them, but as you can see, I don't really have the damage to kill them fast enough, so I don't bother yet. Once I get a better dagger, maybe I will try to defeat a bunch of them for experience points. As I was on my way to Nemeton, I have found a tavern here. There were a couple of things I looted here. Also found a notice that if I were able to kill the pack leader of the Rippers, I will be rewarded with 250 coins. So this was an interesting quest that I wanted to take. And then I met this person called Fawini here who keeps calling us, telling us to have a good time with this person. Nah, I have more important goals right now. So there was this person called Gawan. He was looking for a dead buddy of his that got killed by Rippers. He said there was a certain yellow stone that he was trying to find, but he couldn't find the body of his friend. So if ever I found the yellow stone, I need to talk to him again. I then spoke with Olaf, the owner of this tavern. He was the one who posted the sign for rewarding you for killing the pack leader of the Rippers. And he told me about a certain person called Fall, which I can find just ahead of this tavern, that might be hunting some Rippers. And since no one was guarding the kitchen area of the tavern, I have gathered some goods for myself. Also got myself a new knife, the blunt stinger. But the knife I bought at Remnant is stronger though, so I don't really need to use this. The items I got from the kitchen was a tavern key. So I entered the tavern and looted all the stock they had underground. There were a bunch of spiders down here. Probably this place is abandoned, right? If there are a lot of spiders. Also, there was another chest that I couldn't open again. I really need that lockpicking skill so I can steal more stuff. And then I found an entrance to a cave behind this wall. I checked out the area, but there seems to be like a giant worm here that was guarding the place. I had to run away. And dang, those look dangerous. And also, there were like giant spider webs. So I don't think I should be in this area yet. So I have to run away for now. I then saw a couple of blood marks on the ground, and so I will follow this track and see where it leads me to. And you can see my damage, right? The dagger I bought at Remnant really helps a lot in increasing my damage. The dogs were no match for me. Or I mean the Rippers. Just look at that lovely damage. I can finally see their HP bar going down faster than before. I swear to God, I felt so weak before with my daggers. But now, so strong. I found the dead body that Gawan wanted me to look for. His buddy right here is obviously dead already. I searched the corpse and got myself a yellow shiny stone. So I guess this is what he was mentioning. So basically, he said that this yellow shiny stone was being bought by a merchant in Nemeton for a lot of coins. So we're gonna give it to Gawan in hopes that he will return the coins to us. Or I mean, we'll share some of the coins for his sale. So yeah, that's a plan. Moving forward, I found a hunter that was fighting a bunch of Rippers. So I helped him out. So this guy was Fall. He's the guy we were looking for, mentioned by Olaf. So I told him I can help him out in looking for the pack leader of the Rippers. So I guess that's our mission now. We fought a whole bunch of these Rippers. By a whole bunch, like really a lot. Because we were looking for the pack leader, and I guess this was their nest. My life was endangered a couple of times because these things are so strong. Well, thank God we have our healing ointments to heal us. So this white fur looking thing is the pack leader. But for now, I made sure to take care of the minions first. I have a new skill called Kick, and it does so much damage. It's the only DPS I have right now that does like a lot. So I'm spamming the heck out of this kick skill. It's so good as well because it pushes back the monster. It means they can't attack us once we kick their face. So it has to come near, which I can easily regenerate stamina and dodge after. Anyways, we have defeated the pack leader. I have gained a level. And now we also will gain a bunch of coins later on once we submit its head to Olaf. I then went back to Babsy to learn about skinning animals and gutting animals. Because all the animals we've killed so far, we can get their teeth, their skin, and other stuff that we can sell to the merchants for coins. So I went back to the place where we have killed a lot of Rippers and grabbed all the teeth, leather, claw that we can get from this. Paul and I then collected our rewards for killing the pack leader of the Rippers, which was 250 coins divided by 2. Afterwards, I continued my way towards Nemeton, exploring along the way. I found myself in a heath field and a couple of sheeps here and there, and then I met this guy called Tuz. He lost his ring that he was gonna give to a girl at the tavern, so I decided to help him out. I searched up a bunch of poop, hoping to get the ring that he lost. I also met this person called Evie or Evi while looking for poops that might contain rings, and I woke her up. And to her surprise, her sheep Lazel was missing, so I got another quest to look for a sheep called Lazel. Followed some little footprints, found a bunch of poop as well. Eventually stumbled upon a shrine. So looking at the notes, our keyword here is mist. So the thing we need to put here is something that creates a mist or basically smoke. So the item that is required in the shrine would be a rust moss. One of the, I guess, the drugs that the Remnant camp uses to smoke. And so I placed it down to activate the shrine and got myself +1 in mind. I eventually found Lazel down here. So now we have finished Evi's quest. So the only thing we need to do here is look for more poop to find the ring of Tuz. And while trying to take back Lazel back to his or her owner, I stumbled upon another poop. I examined the poop, and finally, I have gotten the ring that Tuz was looking for. And it's called the Filthy Ring, and it has like +3 dexterity. Dang. Anyways, I finished my quest with the sheep. She told me to report back to Olaf so I can get some reward. I got some experience points and 75 coins for doing that quest. I then gave Tuz the ring he was looking for. Told him it was kind of filthy because I found it in poop. But still, he was happy that I have gotten the ring back. So he said he will just clean it up and give it to the girl that he likes. Amazing. I then met this guy called Elgar. He was wearing a frog mask. So let's call him Frogman. So Frogman wanted to defeat a bunch of frogs, he said, in the moor. I think that's what the swamp is called in nearby the Nemeton area. So yeah, he wanted to protect the sheeps, as he said. So we went on a journey to defeat frogs here. There were a bunch of corpses here and there, so I just grabbed the loot. Anyhow, my job here is just to assist Edgar in defeating the frogs. Also, as I was looking around, there were a bunch of like dead bodies that sank into, I guess what you call this, quicksand or maybe like mud. Anyways, I grabbed some of them and like looted whatever the corpses had. And yeah, finally, let's go back to our mission of defeating some frogs. So I assisted Edgar in defeating most of these beasts. There were honestly a lot of them, and I really need to be careful because I'm really not that tanky, as you can see. I'll need to repeat this again because I died. On the second try, I was more careful, and we have finally defeated all the frogs that Elgar wanted to eliminate. He gave me some coins and a frog mask. Honestly, the real reason why he wanted to kill the frog was to loot most of this rust root down here that was growing. The sheeps were honestly just an excuse, so he can get all the rust root here and make it to rust moss. Anyhow, I continued my journey towards Nemeton, and there were a bunch of frogs and mosquitoes fighting each other here, and the mosquitoes look really plump and dangerous. I should really avoid them. I then stumbled upon this camp here with two merchants in it. They were selling various goods, and the only thing I was interested in at the moment was a signet by the Bygones. It was expensive, like 1,500 coins. So I did not buy it yet, but I did buy the Mandragora because it's only like 500 coins. We can make another elixir with this, which I'm going to make later on once I've learned potion crafting. I then arrive at the gates of Nemeton, but I can't enter the place until I have proven myself. So Palina, the guard, recommended me to go to George Farm. I was looking for work and I said, sure, why not? And also, so this guy, Muck right here, will lead me to the farm. Muck then left afterwards once we have arrived at the farm. Spoke with George here, the owner of the farm. He told me to talk to the people here if they have any work for me. Back to my bad deeds, I got a bunch of items. And then spoke with Delaney right here who wanted me to cook for all the farmers. So I grab a bunch of stuff from the chest and cook something called the farmer's meal, which gives like 10% movement speed. So I really like this food buff. And so I handed over the farmer's meal to the random people in the farm. Also asked them if they have other work for me. Raya right here had a request for me to look for a person who was exploring the moor. I also gave out some food to the bridge repair people. I also got a request to look for her lost boots, which we're gonna find later on after I serve all the meals. I decided to explore a bit and I found a dead body here. I wasn't really sure who this guy was. It was unrecognizable, but he did got like a couple of items. I eventually stumbled upon a mandragora. Mandragoras are easily identifiable if they're in the area if you hear them sing. So with earplugs on, I plucked the mandragora. She screamed to kill me, but I had earplugs, so this poor little thing. I then bunked its head and I got the mandragora. I followed some tracks which led me to a cave. There were a couple of them. Inside were foxes. They were pretty hostile. Also, I found a shoe that one of the bridge repairer was looking for. So the critter who got the shoe was the foxes. I did not want to kill them at all though. But I think I have to. I think it's part of the quest or something. I don't know, but yeah, I executed them. I had no choice, I swear. I then gave Daylara her shoe back and told her it was a fox that took it. She was relieved that it wasn't any ripper, but just a fox. I then met these two people right here and gave them their farmer's meal. Also, they gave me a quest to look around for bog irons in the wheat field, and so I did. After I was done with everything, I then reported to George and then asked him if there's anything else that he needs help with. He was complaining about bloodfly nests, the giant plumpy mosquitoes, so we're gonna go look for those nests and destroy it. As I was foraging around the moor, there were a bunch of frogs and mosquitoes that were trying to kill me, of course. So one thing I can do here is to like lure them together so they will fight each other. Then once they're like low health, I can come and like finish them off. My main focus isn't really fighting these guys, but looting the items all around the place, because they make for a really good potion once combined. So that was my goal right now. Also, after killing these two frogs in this certain area, there's actually a treasure chest here. I know this place because I've stolen a map in George Farm that told me the location of this treasure. The items I got isn't really that helpful, but we did have a magical scroll called Fog Shape. It is used for escaping. As I went towards Nemeton, I then met Lobo right here. He was a merchant who had a problem. He lost his leather bag somewhere in the moor, so I need to look for it so he can help me get inside Nemeton. But since I already did accomplish a lot of things at George Farm, George gave me like the hidden passcode to enter this place. So at the bottom of the barrel, I said to this guard, and she let me in. And if you remember, this guy Asmus, he was the first person we met here in Drova. Anyways, I discussed about him the package that Boris wanted to get. I told Asmus that I was here to pick up the package because Boris ordered me so. He didn't have the package though because someone ransacked his home and stole the package. So I guess we need to investigate this further in order to locate where the package was. Next up, I attended a lesson by the shaman right here towards these two children. She was talking about the divinities. Quite an interesting topic, so I stayed for a while. After the lesson though, the children then talked to me asking me for a favor to have someone extract some shroom something from a person called Humbert. They didn't want to do it because they believe that Humbert eats mean or bad kids or something. So they asked me the favor so they can make a talisman for Helma. So sure, I guess. I then talked to the Humbert guy that the kids were mentioning. Anyways, I gave him a bunch of the mushrooms that I've collected so far so he can make the extract so we can make the talisman. After sleeping for the day, I then talked to Humbert again to grab the extract. And after that was done and I was on my way to the kids, I then met this person called Afrin. He complained about he was robbed by 3 people and he couldn't beat them because there's only one person and there's 3 of them. He then had a slip of a tongue and mentioned about the package. So he was the one who got the package and like destroyed Asmus' home. I told him to hand over the package so my quest will be done. And he said that the package is hidden somewhere besides a bunch of firewood in the apple farm something. Anyways, I found the package and then returned to Asmus. Both of these guys then cleared up their misunderstandings, and yeah, job well done to us. We can now deliver the package back to Boris. I then spoke with these two right here, Angus and Kendrick. So Kendrick doesn't really like the Remnant people, and Angus here is like, I guess, the one in charge. We'll need approval of Angus if ever we want to join Nemeton. He's like the big shot. Anyhow, they're currently on a case of someone is stealing the weapon shipments, and this needs to be investigated. Kendrick suspects that the one responsible for this is Palina. Palina was once a member of the Remnant's camp, but now she is with Nemeton. Anyways, I told Angus and asked him if I can join Nemeton. This guy laughs about it, and I told him that what if I can solve the mysteries of the weapon missing thingy, and he will consider, he said. Anyways, after all that has happened, it was now time to go back to my origins and loot a bunch of chests right here owned by some other people while they are sleeping and they had no idea what's coming. I then finished up my quest with the children and gave them the Kalashroom extract so they can draw something on the talisman for Helma. They asked me to draw something for Helma's talisman, and sure, I did. I drew this. I then talked to Palina regarding Kendrick suspecting her. So I asked her if she could assist me to solve this case. So she told me about people who I should talk to in order to get some clues regarding this weapon shipment. For now though, I went back to the children and Helma, and we gave Helma the talisman that the children made. They then gave me an empty talisman which I can work on to make my very own talisman. I then talked to a bunch of people like the blacksmith Rura here so I can have a necklace for my talisman. She wanted me to find Mook first before she will give me the time of her day to get that necklace on my talisman. So here's Mook. So I told him that the blacksmith Rura was looking for him. After that was done, our talisman now has a necklace or cord. The next thing I needed was some ashes so that my talisman will be polished, I believe. So by lighting up the torches inside this place, I have honored the fire as this person does. And so she agreed to help me regarding my talisman. Now that that was done, I then visited this area at night and played the lyre. All I really needed to do was follow when the fireflies were glowing. I then drew a picture of a firefly, same as the one on the rock right here once I was done playing for it. And by completing the picture, my talisman then became an adorned talisman. We can't really wear it though because we need to insert some power inside it for now. So I talked to Helma and the kids, and Helma told me that I need to bless this talisman. There are 3 sites of blessing that I need to locate in order to power up this talisman. I then continued exploring the more. My damage isn't really that bad, and I also have the kick skill that boosts my attack if ever I don't do enough damage. So all is good right now. I just needed a better armor, I swear, because you know I'm shirtless right now. And while I was on my way to the tavern, I then get ambushed by a couple of bandits. I even got stunned by one of their traps. Anyway, I just did my best in order to win against these guys. I'm not losing against these guys. I'm gonna make use of my kick and then stunning them. Run away to heal if I can. Anyways, yeah, this will be a fairly easy fight, I believe. As long as I believe in myself and like dodge most of their attacks. I have some daggers that I can use to like kill someone with. It's only like 6 pieces, but I managed to lower someone down and kill them. So now it's only 2 versus 1. This shouldn't be hard. A couple of kicks in and they should lose to me. But dang, they also have that dodging skill. As long as I keep calm, I will be able to defeat them. I will just need to spam my kick as it's the only thing that does a lot of damage, I swear. I mean, my dagger does a decent amount, but it's not as much as the kick attack. Anyways, some potions in and a couple more hits, and we have defeated the 3 bandits. Maybe these guys were the one that ambushed like the guy with the package for Boris. I arrived at the tavern and then spoke to Gawan. I totally forgot to hand him over the yellow shiny stone. He said he will make us a lot of money with this thing, so I guess I'll wait for that. Well, speaking with Olaf, he then gave me an old leather armor that was just sitting around with no one using it, he said. So this leather armor has a lot of bonus defense, like +6 compared to the current one we're using. Now we're not shirtless anymore and we look cooler with our leather armor. Let's go. Remember the guy with the poop ring? Anyways, Tuss was confessing or giving the ring to this lady right here. Anyhow, I then resumed my exploration. Just wanted to gain some levels and gain some items from monsters and also other stuff that I can maybe gain from random places by foraging. I then discovered a camp just near the forest and near the tavern. So there are 2 people here, Pywil and I forgot the other guy's name. Anyways, this guy then told me about his friend Wind who was missing. So we also need to find out the whereabouts of this Wind person. Last time seen was in the tavern or heading to the tavern. So there should be something around the tavern that's causing the missing people. I'll further investigate this later on. I then returned to the Remnant's camp and gave Boris the package. He told me to sell the contents of the package. What? Why do I have to do this? I don't know. He threatened me by the fact that he's the Sword of Jiro, and in order to join Remnants, I really need to follow whatever favor he's asking of me. For the task he wanted me to do, he wanted me to sell Rosmos for like 50 coins each to any person in Remnant. So okay, sure, easy enough, I guess. Hopefully Rosmos isn't that bad of an effect to one's body. Also, I learned another dagger skill by Sinistra right here. So with this new skill called Efficient Strike, every strike we do, we will regenerate some stamina. So that's pretty useful, right? I then told Boris that I have distributed the Rosmos and gave him the 150 coins I earned. He then gave me 50 coins for a job well done. And then I asked for the money that should be paid after delivering the package. And he gave me about 200 coins for it. I still haven't gotten Boris' vote yet. I need to win over some of his people so they would also vote for me to join Boris' camp or just have his vote or something so I can join the Remnant. Another option was to give him 2,000 coins and I'm not doing that because I'm poor. I then did a couple of quests at the lower part of Remnant. So basically, a dad just wants his son to go to Nemeton because there's no future in Remnant, he said, blah blah blah. So this is Connor, the son. Nothing really important here, just a couple of quests that I wanted to do. And while I was on my way back to Nemeton, I was then ambushed by a couple of bandits. So I of course faced them in battle. They weren't really that tanky compared to the 3 bandits we have fought earlier. And if you're wondering who my companion was, it's a person from the lower quarry who wanted to go to Nemeton as well. So I told her she can accompany me or something. And oh my god, I'm actually close to dying here. The potion just clutched my HP regeneration and I did not die. Anyways, my companion did get knocked off though, but I can always just help her out after this fight. So just one more person left and we have defeated these 3 bandits that wanted to ambush us. I then looted all of their items. Anyways, one of them had a note that told them that let's show him how we do things in Drova, he said. A new runner, which is me. Then initial B, meaning it's Boris, this dude. Anyways, I asked him how did they know about the money I'm carrying and when I'm going towards Nemeton. But yeah, the note explains it all with initial B, obviously Boris. Anyways, my companion suddenly rose up from the dead and started walking again towards Nemeton. So okay, I guess we'll follow and accompany her to Nemeton. After we have arrived though, she was denied access. So our poor companion. I then reported to Asmus and gave him his 200 gold and told him about how I was ambushed by Boris's men. I showed him the evidence and well, he's just angry about Boris. Anyways, I explored more about the moor, and if you look at my screen, it's kind of hazy. It's because I drank some honey mead for regeneration of HP and also 10% stance damage. The debuff will be gone in a few more seconds, I believe. I'm currently just a little tipsy. Anyways, in the moor, there are a bunch of these alligator monsters. They're not really hard to kill. Also, because of our leather armor, we're pretty tanky now. So I'm not really scared of anything right now. I then found a mysterious area that looks like it's encircling something and my talisman reacted to it. Not really sure what happened, but I guess I got one of the blessings. I then found another dead body in the moor, and it seems she was carrying a bunch of, or he was carrying a bunch of Erasmus on his bag. So I assumed this was the person that one of the George farmers were looking for. Also, just nearby the dead body, I guess these harpies were the one responsible for killing that person. Anyways, I just slowly sneak in the place to see what I can get here or what I can scan here with my scanning eye. I then found a chair that has a crack in it, and inside were a bunch of swords. So that's free gold if I sell it to the merchants. I then found the nest that George said regarding the blood mosquitoes. So the babies explode on contact. I almost died, but thankfully I managed to escape and healed up. So in order for the nest to be destroyed, you just needed to hit it once and it's over. Now I just gotta deal with the remaining bloodfly parents, I guess. Not really that hard, just fairly easy to defeat. I just don't have the attack range to like easily deal with them. I continued finding even more nests, so right now my goal was to destroy at least 3 nests and report back to George. Exploring the moor, I then discovered a cave, so I of course went inside. And inside here was a door that I can actually open. I still don't have the lockpicking key though, but at the very least I can open and check out whatever is in this area. There was one problem though, there was another door, but I can't open it sadly. So I guess I'll go back to that place when I can, but for now, yeah, we can't. We need the lockpicking skill, I swear. I really should learn it when I can, when I have some extra points. Like now I have some extra points. And so another nest down. So these baby mosquitoes are actually really easy to counter. You just have them explode and then dash away. And finally, I think this is the last nest in the moor, and I have destroyed all of them. Let's go, because we have achieved and finished our quest. I then reported to George that I have finished destroying the bloodfly nest, and he gave me 50 and 100 coins. Let's go. As I explored some more, I finally found the leather bag that Lobo was looking for. So it was guarded by a bunch of these frogs that I need to defeat first before I can interact with the bag. I mean, I can just get the bag and run away, but you know, I want the experience points, so gotta kill them. Anyways, I got the bag now, the filthy bag, and then I just need to return this to Lobo. As I explored deeper in the moor, there were a bunch of foglings, green ghost thingies that will basically kill me if I interact with them or something. So I tried my best to get away from this place, but at the same time, I just am very curious if there are items here that I can loot on the ground or any corpses that I can maybe loot for items. So I risked it all to search the area even if the place was covered in fog. But I really should just run away from this place or I will face the consequence of dying. Anyhow, I then went back to Lobo, gave him his bag, and I did not accept his offer of riding the back of his cart so I can enter Nemeton. And this was one of my biggest regrets because now I can't shop anything that Lobo was trying to sell because I was planning to join Remnant. And once I'm part of a faction, I no longer can enter Nemeton afterwards. So I don't think I can shop anymore from whatever he was selling. And spoiler alert, he sells like 10 pieces of Cliff Lichen. That's like plus 10 decks easily. God dang. This was honestly my bad. Anyways, I then returned to Remnant Camp back to Iden so I can learn about potion brewing because I now have a bunch of mandragoras and food that I can combine to make elixirs. I made like 2 elixir of concentration, and what this does, it permanently increases my focus by 3. More focus I have, I can easily use skills earlier than rather than charging it by hitting monsters with a normal attack. I then went to Boris' place at night. I wanted to steal some stuff from him because he, you know, ambushed me with his bandits or something. But anyways, I talked to Gara here instead. He was guarding the place while Boris was asleep. And she said she would give me her favor to Boris as long as I will give her a favor later on. She doesn't tell me what kind of favor it is, but she just wanted me to promise that I would return the favor later on. Well, okay, sure. After Gara left, I sneakily went inside Boris's room and grabbed a bunch of stuff. His chest contained a signet stone by the bygones. This was already very rewarding. I then talked to Boris again, and with Gira's favor, I can now join his squad. So now I have Boris's vote. Now I can actually join Remnant if I wanted to. But not right now because I still have some quests in Nemeton. Killen even told me about it that once I join Remnant, I won't be able to enter Nemeton's camp anymore. I really regret not riding behind the cart of Lobo because now I can't buy the Cliff Lichen. So sad. We just have like 2 more quests in Nemeton, then we can start joining the Remnant so we can proceed with our main quest. And now it's finally time to interact with Fawini right here. She's been wanting to isolate us somewhere in the forest for something fun to do. I'm pretty sure she's gonna mug me. She is so sus as heck, so I'm pretty sure she has someone waiting there to ambush us. And I was right. There we go. They're trying to mug us or kidnap us actually. They wanted to turn us into a slave, but that won't happen because I will fight back. And so we fought to the death. This time I have my leather armor, so I'm pretty confident. Also, my dagger isn't really that bad. And with our kick, it's very easy to just like push them away so I can recharge some stamina while waiting for the kick to come back up again while we regenerate our focus. So that's 1 down. Fawini's down. Only the friend of hers, the spearman, left. Nothing hard really. They're pretty slow and their attack pattern is pretty simple and my defense is pretty high. You're no match, lady. I'll just kick you 1 more time. Let's go. I then found an abandoned area with a bunch of items, so I of course grabbed everything since no one was here anyways. I then continued exploring in the moor, fighting a bunch of dogs for their experience points. I was looking for something particular here, basically the missing persons. I was not sure if we will find the bodies or if we will find the live persons themselves. I then encountered 2 boars, but now I'm fairly confident that I can beat them. I still rely a lot on my kick though, because without this kick, I think I would suffer a lot of potion loss from overhealing or something. These things are pretty dangerous. Their damage is not really small. But as long as I dodge properly, I won't be wasting any potions. Sometimes I have encounters like there are 3 boars, and honestly, these guys are very annoying if there's 3 of them. It's very hard to like defeat them. But as long as I try and like hide behind trees and just kill them 1 by 1 when my kick is fully charged up, then I think it's easy. And while exploring around, I found myself a cave. Inside were a bunch of boars guarding a skeleton of a boar, so it's probably something important. So after defeating these guys, I then grabbed the skeleton that was placed on the rock. I then checked it out. It was a boar skull accessory. I then found what looks like bear tracks inside a cave. So it was time to fight our very first bear. So this is the time I will need to use some of my scrolls in order to defeat this thing. Alright, so it's time to fight the bear. So I summoned my mosquito team. So they easily took care of the bear's stance. The only problem is we don't have enough damage at all to like, you know, even a portion of the bear's HP. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna do my best. Maybe spamming bleed and kick would do the trick. So you remember that my dagger actually has a skill called Contagion. So if an enemy is bleeding and I use this skill, they will be poisoned. It only works if the enemy is bleeding though. So I'll make sure to stab this bear every time it's bleeding. Because right now we don't really have any damage. So the only damage we can do is bleed and poison. And we'll eventually defeat this bear. I swear, if I had a stronger dagger, maybe this would have been easier. Now that like 1 mosquito is left, we just gotta have to play it safe. Maybe keep kicking the bear until its stance like disappears or something. Dodge as much as possible. Yeah, just focus on like doing stance damage and kick, and we should be able to beat this bear. And for dang reason, I can't proc my bleed somehow. It will eventually proc and it will help us in this battle. So yeah, the kick is amazing, I swear. I can basically regenerate stamina because I kicked the bear from far away. Anyways, we have defeated the bear. We gotten ourselves some bear claw, which is one of the quest items we need to bring to Nemeton. Because actually, the blacksmith there is requesting us for a bear claw to prove ourselves. For the chest inside the cave, it was a rare axe. And we don't really use axe, but I'm happy to receive some daggers to throw in my enemies. There was another boss type monster that I have discovered, but I don't think I can fight this guy yet. So I'll just mark the map and come back here sometime when I get stronger or better armor. Exploring some more, I then discovered a Mandragora. Yippee! I don't really have any more of the luminous bass, so I think I'll just combine this with a Besa root or maybe the void plant that gives like mind. As I continued exploring the more, I then encountered this really dangerous monster in the water. Like, it drained my HP so fast. Like, holy. Stepping in the water trigger it to attack. And the only way I can fight back is like to kick it or something. It's really hard because it goes back to its place, but it stays there for a while. But still, it's very annoying. I guess I eventually stumbled upon the deeper parts of the moor because these spiritual guys are here again that screams in your face when they had the chance. I eventually reached an area where there were these ghost-looking creatures, but they weren't really hostile. And there was this thing, like a large broken spear that is struck on the ground. And also a dead body having a spear and an epic accessory called Shaft of Pure Rage. So the more my HP goes down, the higher my damage is. I don't really plan on having lower HP, so I'm not using this accessory. Anyways, I explored the entirety of this area with a spear. Nothing really stands out aside from that accessory we recently just gotten. I then found one of those shrines that gives like a learning points. Let's go, free learning points. I then went to the camp with the 2 people merchant that were selling stuff and learned a skill called Extract Ichor from one of the merchants here. Also distributed most of my stats to strength. So what the skill does is it will enable me to extract like fluids from monsters, like acid from spiders and other stuff. Also, remember the guy that we gave the yellow shiny stone for a lot of money? So Gawan right here spent all the money and bought like a lot of sheeps. So his plan was buy lots of sheeps since sheeps only eat grass and sheeps make unlimited amounts of wool. And he will sell the wool and he will get rich. So that was his plan. So I'm not getting any of my coin. This guy even asked me for more coins so he can grow more of his business. Like, what the heck? I mean, like, sure, I'll just give him the coins that he wanted. Maybe he will succeed. Honestly, right now, I'm mostly just exploring the entire map, gathering some ingredients or maybe some rare items if I get lucky. I then discovered yet another dead body. I wonder who this person was. Inspecting the corpse, there was a note saying, Helena, you still owe me a favor and I'm collecting on it. All I want is to sell the goods. Then we'll be on our way again. With this, we are even. Dash Boris. Dang. So I'll guess I'll tell Palina about this then. I then found an area with a lot of rust root, so I've taken most of it. But actually, these rust root belong to this lady right here called Ida. So I guess I gave all the rust root I just plucked to her, sadly. The moor honestly is such a big place. Anyways, I met this person here called Hennick. He wanted to explore deeper in the moor because he knew of a location that had a mandragora. He wanted a mandragora to give it to someone that he likes. He will confess to that person on the day of the Festival of Fire, which is happening, not really sure when, but soon. So I agreed to help him out. He just wanted someone to get the mandragora while he protects me from creatures called foglings. And so we ventured out to the deeper parts of the moor and there were a lot of foglings here. Thank God this guy is very tanky and strong. I can actually ride this free experience train. I don't really need to get the mandragora right now. I'll just have this guy kill a bunch of foglings so I can gain some experience points. So these things give about 100 experience point each, I believe. So let's just check. And no, I was wrong. It's actually 120. It took a while, but I finally found the mandragora that Hendrik was looking for. So with earplugs on, I then pulled the mandragora out of its roots. And then I gave it to Hennick. So now quest completed and he said he'll meet me inside Nemeton. So I'll meet him there. I then gave Palina the letter that we have gotten earlier from the dead person. Anyway, she thanked me for giving her the letter and called Boris a bastard. I then helped out a blind old man for things he requested. I got the items from a couple of merchants here and there and came back to him and gave him the stuff that he needed. I met up with Henrik, got about 210 experience points from finishing this quest of just talking to him, and then we had an encounter with the one he wanted to give Mandragoras to. She was asking what we were doing at the moor, and I told her that we were slaying some foglings. That's it. I did not mention anything about Mandragoras. He then thanked me for not speaking about the Mandragora because it is a surprise for her at the Festival of Fire. I then submitted the bear claw that I got from the bear we have defeated like earlier to Chunai. And with this, she will now help us improve our blacksmithing skill. But we don't really have any more blacksmithing skill to learn, so I decided to just learn like more strength. I then resumed my investigation against the missing weapons. So I talked to Fia here, who manages the storage of this place, but she doesn't want to get involved, or she doesn't even want to give the time for me to investigate about the vanished weapons. So we needed someone trustworthy, I guess, so she can let me inside the storage so I can investigate. For now, I continued exploring them more because I really was looking for those missing people. And I think I've just found the place where they might be. There was a cave here and a camp outside. So this is a big clue, I believe. So inside the cave were a couple of beds, a couple of boxes, and a giant bridge. This was actually a home base of a couple of hostile enemies to us. So I'm guessing this is a bandit camp base. They're not really that tanky, so I can just play with them with my kick. My kick damage is just so high that I can just wait for its cooldown, then just keep kicking them, then run around or something. I don't need to like risk my life or anything. I just need to kick them until they die. And boom! I then killed a couple more bandits down here. These guys were getting stronger and stronger as I kept going deeper and deeper. Thankfully though, we have our throwing daggers, our kick, so this is a really good combo to deal with these tanky guys. And lastly, I believe this is their leader, which I just defeated. I then grabbed a couple of things in the table. And for some reason, Olaf's name has been mentioned on this letter. So the relic I just picked up was supposed to be sold to Olaf. So I'm gonna confront Olaf later after exploring this place. There was only one more enemy down here, and it was this guy. It wasn't really that strong. I already defeated stronger enemies earlier, the leader and its bodyguard. So yeah, this was a real easy fight. A few more hits and she will die. I eventually stumbled upon a giant looking ruins down here. Also a couple of people that were missing. So these guys were the missing people that the other people were looking for. So we finally found them. Let's go. But before I actually rescued them, I told them that to wait because I haven't finished exploring the area yet. I wanted to get whatever I can get down here before I return to the surface. I'm just glad to get like a couple of magic missile skulls here. This will be very useful against strong enemies later on. While exploring around, I found a bunch of items and also some puzzle pieces that I would need to like take a picture of so I can solve puzzles later. Afterwards, I found the room where I need to input the images that I have seen recently. For this one, it was the recent image we have pictured. So I copied the screenshot that I made and we have activated this first key. So we just need to look for one more and we can unlock something. I couldn't find any more clues inside the ruins earlier, so I decided to explore more in the cave. I eventually stumbled upon a place with a bunch of items and also the picture that we were looking for. But it's currently covered in pannier or rubbles, so I have to remove all these rubbles first. And after cleaning most of the rubbles in the ground, I now had a clear picture on what I should draw for the other part of the puzzle. So I drew it and now we have unlocked a secret door. Let's go. Inside the secret room was a new amulet that we can use called the Bloodthirsty Amulet. And what it does is if ever we have bled at the enemy, we have a chance to restore like 5% of our HP upon attacking them. Now that we're done exploring the ruins, it was now time to escape this place. there were no more bandits that would stop us from escaping because I have taken care of them all already. Anyways, we have finished one of our quests called Missing. We also got a strange relic from exploring that place, so this was a pretty rewarding adventure. I then talked to Olaf about what happened, and I saw that a letter about him buying a strange artifact from those bandits. I then told him how Aldrich was already dead and I killed him and I rescued a bunch of missing people. Anyways, what he really just wanted to do was buy that strange relic, and aside from that, he had nothing to do with the kidnappings. Anyways, he then handed me a key so I can go behind the tavern. He told me to go inside the cave once I go out the door. He told me about a person named Ede that would like to see the artifacts. So I guess that's where we're heading now. And so I went inside the cave, met a few new people that I haven't met yet. These guys are the Ruin Raiders. Just as their name suggests, they raid ruins to look for artifacts left by the bygones. I then spoke to Ede, handed him over the strange relic that I've recently gotten. I was pretty unlucky because while I was conversing with Ede, it eventually turned into their nap time or their sleep time. So now I had to find a bed to sleep on so we can talk to Ede again. But since no one was guarding this place, I then grabbed a bunch of stuff that I can take. I also explored the place and found myself a ruins down here. Exploring some more, I found another section of this place where there were a bunch of people as well. These were merchants that were selling goods. They don't really have anything interesting like a mandragora or stuff that increases your stats, so I didn't really buy much from them. The next day, I then spoke to Ede because finally he woke up. I then showed him the strange relic. I didn't really know what to say for this at the moment, but he told me if ever I find any other strange relic, like maybe the signet stone of the bygones, then I should give it to him. And that's what I did. I gave him like the 3 signet stone of the bygones that I had at the moment, and he can't believe how amazing the relics were and everything fit together. Anyways, I needed to look for like 3 more of those, so that's a lot to look for. I then told Olaf about everything that have happened so far, how I gave Ede the relics and stuff. He explained to me that they're looking up something regarding Drevanius, that he had a way to save Drova. So the Ruin Raiders, that was their goal. Anyways, now that I was a little bit strong, I then went back for the snappers that I couldn't beat before. I mean, I could beat them before, but yeah, I would have a hard time. I still have a hard time though because they keep running away and my damage isn't really that great. Anyhow, roaming around here, I discovered another one of those shrine that gives learning points. Let's go. And also, I want to learn lockpicking now, so I need to go back to Remnant and learn it from a blacksmith or something. I then found a hostile person. I also noticed that there was an axe just beside this camp. So after defeating this guy, I then went for the axe. And to my surprise, it was Snaga, Gra's favorite axe. If you don't remember who Gra was, he's one of the fighters in the arena. So I'll just need to give him his axe and we can now watch Baddie and Gra fight it out. So we can also bet some coins and double the amount if ever we win our bet. Just near the woodcutter's camp, I found another shrine. So for this shrine, what it's looking for is the Wandering Ram. Obviously, it's the Ram statue. Am I right? I placed down the Ram figurine and I have activated the shrine and obtained +1 in mind. I should have done this earlier, but I totally forgot that Sengiz has one more quest for us that I didn't do to find their hunter. So this was Lareya. She was wounded by a Ripper. So now she's just hiding here, I guess rejuvenating. So anyways, I gave her a healing potion so she can now go back home, not injured but healed. I then found a ruin with a hidden basement, so I of course entered the basement to see what it has. So there was a statue right here and also a mechanism that moves when sound is played. So I just needed something to play a sound with so it would like open up. But before that, I look all over the place to see if I can loot something. I'm honestly just glad that in my inventory I had an item called the horn. So I played it and the thing activated. And now it's glowing red as you can see. What happened here was it opened a secret area. So now we can enter it. And inside here, there were a bunch of items that I can pick up, especially scrolls. Scrolls are always important. Also, if you remember those bandits who tried to take some coins from us when we were on the pit, I of course challenged them and got my revenge. These guys weren't that hard now because we have improved our strength. Also, we have the leather armor to protect us from danger. I easily took care of them with my kick skill. That kick is just amazing early game. Like, I mean the entire game, that kick is amazing because you can push someone back and the damage is just crazy. Anyways, I have defeated them, but I did not kill them. I helped them out. They had a purpose why they had to do this. Anyhow, I followed them towards their camp. After I defeated them, they just resigned and just walked towards home, I guess. They were trying to gather money so they can help one of their friend here who was sick. So upon looting a bag, it seems that they needed a bear's heart, a sludge lotus, and something pink that grows somewhere. Anyways, I believe I had all of those, so I gave it all to Adalgus. They then made the potion instructed by the druid and gave it to her right here. To thank me for my help, they gave me this thing called a wind talisman. So this is an epic amulet where whenever I dodge, my next attack would have an increase of 50% more damage. This is a crazy amulet, I tell you. Since I dodge a lot, this is gonna be very useful. I then explored the previous cave that we couldn't before because we didn't have the gears and we were weak. Now these spiders were nothing. I easily defeated them. This place was really nice to gather experience points because these things, there's a lot of them down here and they're not really tanky. A few kicks and a few hits and they die. I didn't really get anything important down here. I just killed a bunch of spiders and that's it. The next thing I wanted to try out was if ever I can fight the harpies now. It seems like I'm doing a pretty decent amount of damage. And it's really good once I like bleed them because they're gonna slowly die. Still though, these things were really hard to find as they hit really hard. But if I struggle hard enough, I may be able to kill one. The fight was pretty long, but I persisted and I eventually killed the harpy. Let's go. I continued hunting down more snapters as they were really good experience points. And also there's a lot of nests that I can loot from where it had a lot of feathers and a lot of eggs, which I can sell for a lot of coins. I then found an area in the forest where there were a bunch of dead people and also these spiritual people as well. So I had to avoid them and just gather whatever items I can get from here. And at the center of it all, there was this stone with, I don't know, a plethora of strange names is written on this, as well as a signet by the bygones. Let's go. And also there's a void plant right here. Let's go. I then found an area with a lot of these statues. I had no idea who these guys were, but yeah, there were a bunch of statues of them. And around here, I then found another mandragora. Let's go. As I went in deeper, there were a bunch of harpies here. They were really hard to fight. You know, one-on-one was even hard already, but now I have to face up against two. So I had to make use of my scrolls here in order to defeat them. This battle honestly took a while because I kept like dodging everything and hope for the best. Just look at this. I'm just 1 HP to death, but I managed to escape. Anyhow, I continued to battle the remaining harpy. I'm using a scroll called Fairy Shout. It's basically a fire-breathing jutsu. Anyways, now that it's a one-on-one, I can easily take care of this last harpy. A couple of seconds in, I have defeated the harpy. As I went deeper again, there were 2 more harpies here. This time I had to use my blaze scroll. And the blaze scroll is amazing. Just look at that damage. I easily killed like 1 harpy. My goal was to like hit both of them, but yeah, they moved too much. Anyhow, it is now a one-on-one fight, so this shouldn't be any trouble at all. And after finally defeating all the obstructions, I can now freely explore this ruin, which I have pressed a hidden button and now I can go downstairs. The place down here was huge and there was even a giant coffin with a bunch of items in it. There was a new helmet helmet that we can use called the Ancient Headdress. But I like my current helmet, so I don't really plan on using it right now. Anyways, we can't really proceed any further here because in order to proceed further, we'll need a key. And I don't have one. So yeah, that's a big problem. So I guess we'll come back here at a later time. And I went to the Remnant's camp and talked to the blacksmith. And this time, I finally learned the lockpicking skill. Finally. And then went to the merchant's area and bought a couple of summoning scrolls as they were gonna be very important against big monsters or bosses. Also, now that I had the lockpicking skill, it was time to open up the chests of these merchants. So I slowly stolen like a bunch of items that these merchants have. So this guy actually was pretty rich. Look at this chest. It's full of potions and magic scrolls. Let's go. I continued being a menace and opened a bunch more chests. I was so happy with all the items that I've obtained from all of these adventures. And since I still had enough points to learn another skill, I then learned Train Dagger Fighting 2. With this one, we can now increase the amount of focus we regenerate per hit. Let's go. I then gave Gra his beloved Snaga. So now we can start watching their fight with Baddie and also place our bets. I betted like 500 coins for Baddie winning. This is gonna be a fair fight because I did not sabotage anyone. I gave Baddie his food and axe. I gave Gra his beloved Snaga. So now let's just watch what happens. Oh no, I did not clean his armor. He still wins. He still wins. Win. Yes. Okay, my 500 coins. And so we have won our bet. Let's go. Easy money. I'm glad I bet for Baddie. And then went back to the Ruin Raiders because I have gotten another Signet Stone. So I gave it to Eid. And now because I gave it to him, he had something new on his store. He was selling an elixir of concentration and an elixir of life that increases both my base focus and also my max health. So I of course bought it both. Look at the amount of money that I have right now. I have like 6k. After that, I then went back to Nemeton to finish some unfinished business, like looking for whoever stole the weapons. So I sneaked up on Fia's room and like got the list of sales or deliveries. Also snagged a couple of coins and then left like nothing happened. I then investigated further by talking to a lot of random people. I then spoke to Henrik in order to convince Fia to let me investigate inside the warehouse. And because she trusted Henrik a lot, she then allowed me to investigate in the warehouse, which I just grabbed a bunch of items, but also found some evidence whoever stole the weapon shipment. So I told them it was a person with red hair, and there were like 3 people with red hair. So now we have to confront the 3 people. And out of all the 3 people, this guy was the most suspicious. So I told him to reveal your secrets. Tell me, where are the weapons? He eventually confessed and led me towards where the weapons were stored. So here there was another person called Jennifer that was watching the area. And as you can see, there are a lot of weapons here. They were both scared of what would happen if Kendrick finds out. Spoiler alert, he found out. So I told them that we can defeat Kendrick. There's like the 3 of us. We'll need to beat him up and show Asmus that this is where the weapon shipments went. And Kendrick was responsible for this. So yeah, we easily took care of Kendrick by ganging up on him. He did defeat the 2 of them though, but they didn't die. Don't worry about it. We then reported it to Angus. We have Kendrick here subdued and now confessing to his actions. And now he was saying that he was doing all of this for Nemeton, but a rule breaker is a rule breaker. Nemeton is very strict about this, so he will still get punished. Ultimately, they will burn him in the Festival of Fire to make up for his wrongdoings. Anyways, now that I have solved the case, they will now allow me to join Nemeton. But I don't really have plans on joining Nemeton. I will join Remnants. Thank you though. And now that I don't have any more quests for Nemeton, it was now time to become an official Remnant member. I dropped by the camp near Nemeton first because I wanted to buy the signet that this guy was selling. And finally, I went to the Remnants camp, talked to Killian that I wanted to join Remnants and also pick Eugene as my advocate. He then asked me what kind of armor would I want, and I told him I would like a light armor. So light armor in this game, you basically reduce the amount of stamina used when dodging by 25%, I believe. That means I can dodge 4 times now. Anyways, I told him that now that I'm part of Remnant, I have a crystal here that I wanted to show the druid. It allowed me to speak with the druid right here called Darwin. I then showed him the crystal and he felt some magical powers inside. And now he wanted to send me on a mission towards the forest primeval. The place was filled with black flames, so I need to be careful. First, I need to find a person named Tristan because he knows the way to the forest. So by receiving this quest, we now have arrived at chapter 2, the forest primeval. I then talked to Boris. I know that he uses daggers and he taught me a skill called Surprise for 3 LP. This thing does is whenever I dodge, I have an increased chance of doing a critical damage by 40%. The tier 3 mastery for dagger though, I can't learn it yet because I need a base prowess of like 70 and I currently only have like 58. Eugene then welcomed me to his squad, and one of the rituals for doing this is like a battle. So everyone went into a brawl. There was no teammate. Everyone was enemies. It was just a friendly match. No one is going to be killed unless someone wants to kill someone, maybe. Anyhow, I did my best here trying to defeat someone. And this guy looks like I'm able to defeat this guy. Just a couple of kicks, a couple of bleeds, and he should be down. I'm doing a lot of damage with my bleed. But as you can see here, you can already tell that the strongest one here would be Eugene. Here's the guy who one-shot me before when I tried training with him. But he's kind of beatable. I'm doing damage to him actually. My bleed and my kick are doing something. Sadly though, I got hit by one of Eugene's wing and I got one shot for some reason. He's so strong. It's over for me. I then went to the tavern to look for a person named Tristan. Olaf said he was gone and was never seen anymore. They don't really know where he is at the moment, but he said I can visit his room and check out. Maybe we can find something that leads to his whereabouts. Upon checking up the room where Tristan was, I then found a map. So this map I think would lead to the forest primeval. I just need to follow it. And so I followed the map and there were a bunch of monsters in this place. So I had to take care of them first because they were lovely experience points. I then found another footprint of bear paws. So I guess we're gonna fight another bear. So I readied up a bunch of my scrolls that is used to fighting the bears. I won't be summoning rats as they die really quick against the bear. But I will be summoning some mosquitoes as they are very helpful against staggering this bear. So as you can see, the mosquito's doing so much staggered damage. It's amazing. So all I really need to do now is just try to deal damage to this thing. The mosquito is only for the stagger damage. You don't really do that much damage. We have defeated a bear already before. This wasn't really a hard fight. I had an easier time now that I know how to defeat this thing. And also I have a better armor now. As I continued my exploration, I found these black flames on the ground. So I assume if I step on the black flames, I'll turn into this guy, this skeleton right here. So yeah, better not go anywhere near the flames. There was a really strong dog monster here. I think it is called a Shadow Ripper. Anyways, this dog is really tanky. Even my kick doesn't really do that much damage. And it's also very quick. It moves a lot. And I really don't like this thing. Anyways, our only chance here is to bleed it out. And also destroy its stance. So we can do like a lot of free hits on it. Thank God we have a lot of dodge abilities because of our light armor. So this was kind of like a doable fight. There was honestly a lot of them just waiting to pounce on you inside the black flames. They were unaffected by the black flames. It's so unfair. Anyways, I just did my best in order to protect myself from these canines. I eventually found one of those circle thingies which would give power to my talisman. And with this third one, we now have a legendary accessory called the Blessing of the Divinities. This was a talisman that we were trying to make from the start. Now we have a really good accessory that gives +5 all stat. Amazing. I then fought this crab looking thing. He summons like landmines on the ground that explodes. This thing wasn't hard to fight. I just need to make sure that I'm out of the range of the explosions and I would be fine. This thing doesn't even fight back. He just keeps summoning those explosive thingies and that's all it does. So yeah, we have defeated it. I also encountered this yellow glowing boar. It felt pretty tanky, but I'm pretty strong now. Now also that I have the damage boost from the new talisman that we have. With more dexterity, more strength, we now have more critical chance and more physical damage. Still though, this thing hurts a lot, so I should make sure to dodge every attack it tries to hit me with. Pretty tanky, I swear. Anyways, 140 experience points. Let's go. I then went to an area where there were like 3 dogs that will simultaneously attack you. So I had to use a scroll in order to have an easier time with this. So the scroll I'm using is called Swirl, I think. So basically, it's an aura that damages the enemies affected by the swirl. It's pretty useful against groups of mobs like this. So I managed to win this fight. As I continued following the map, I then encountered a wolf that was trying to eat this baby boar. So I of course helped the boar. I immediately tried to kill the shadow canine. The boar was just standing there scared and helpless. But for some reason, he's actually following me. I'm not sure what he's doing, actually. As we have defeated the dog, I then checked the little piglet, and he seems to like me for some reason. So I pat the little piggy, and he liked it. He then left afterwards, so I just continued my exploration all over the place to find like items that I can maybe use or maybe rare items that can make potions with. I eventually arrived at a place where I encountered another person or a person of the forest. I guess this person was the pig's owner. Then asked me if I was a wayward. So I asked her what is a wayward. So basically a wayward is something that doesn't belong in the forest. So yeah, I guess I'm a wayward. She then told me to follow her towards the village, and here I met Tristan. He was just right here. I don't know how he stumbled upon here. Anyways, he was the one who made the map, so it's normal that he would be here. I then spoke with a bunch of the townspeople in the forest primeval. So this guy was a Roark, and he's currently making a dish using his sweat as salt because they don't have access to salt. He wanted me to try the soup he was making. I was like, sure, and told him it was pretty salty. Anyways, he was nice enough to give me the recipe of whatever he was making. So it needs salt, sweat. This guy was also selling some goodies, but he doesn't accept coins. So I need to trade a bunch of my random items in order to reach a value of like 1,200 coins. So I can buy this dagger which has better attack than my current dagger. And then talk to this guy named Taron. He's responsible for taking care of the baby piglets that are born from the mother root. So what the mother root is what you see right now. It's this giant wood thing right here which the baby pigs are feeding on. Like, you know, milk. I also met Demo right here. He was the leader of this place. I wanted him to teach me some stuff. Also to teach me how to focus my thoughts. But he said before that he will teach me, I need to know the virtues of this place. So I needed to talk to the people here and ask them what the virtues are. So for now, I played with the little piglet called Kay. Maybe I can own a favor and like they will tell me what one of the virtue is if I played with K. And I was right. Berka right here then taught me one of the virtues and it was harmony. Next, I talked to Taron and I fed a bunch of the piglets. So now it was actually time to release them to the wilds. So I joined him in this parting. The cute little piglets gathered on Taron was... Well, Taron is like very sad because he has to let go of these little babies. Anyways, he taught me that one of the virtues was compassion. Okay, so now we're just down to one more virtue. For now though, I decided to explore the forest for a bit and fought a bunch of the monsters here. They were great for gaining experience points. They were rather tanky though, and also they do a lot of damage. But still, they were great for experience points. I had to make use of another one of my whirling energy scroll because I was fighting like 3 boars at the same time. And I swear to God, whirl is amazing. Just look at all the damage I'm doing to these 3 boars. I then encountered a bear here. So I of course readied myself up with all the scrolls on hand. I summoned a bunch of mosquitoes. I summoned them twice. So now the bear has no chance to even standing at all. He's just lying there. Each time he tries to stand though, he just gets staggered. But yeah, he's really tanky, so it will take a while before we can kill this bear. But surprisingly, my daggers are really strong. I'm doing a lot of damage to this bear. Unlike before where I just tickle it, now I'm actually doing damage. And those mosquitoes are just amazing. They're so good. And with this, we have defeated the bear. I then reported this to Ruark, which then he told me another one of the virtues. So the last virtue I didn't know yet was courage. So now it was time to go back to Demo and report that we have now know what the virtues are. And so I told Demo about everything, and I told him about the 3 virtues: harmony, compassion, and courage. I thought he would teach me now, but he gave me another mission. For this other mission, I need to assist someone in order to defeat a certain wayward. So this was Bertine, and one of her important person got killed by a wayward. So I told her that I will join her on her revenge for that special person. So we headed towards the area where the wayward was, where the person was killed. Anyhow, this is where our 100 days in Drova ends. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed your stay here. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button. We're still in part 2, and I believe there's a total of 5 chapters in this game. Alright, thank you for watching. Bye now.